at 9 p.m. I don't think that's new news, but I don't care what to do. Oh, stop it. Neverland is an origin story, actually. It's about how the characters in J.M. Barrie's classic became those characters. And it was written and directed by Nick Willing, who you may know from our Tin Man, our most successful miniseries ever, as well as he was the writer and director of Alice. So it's an amazing, sweeping, epic adventure. We're very, very excited about it, and it's going to launch Christmas week. So let me bring out our cast. Please welcome Rhys Ifans, Friel and Charlie Rowe.
Hello.
Charlie. So welcome, you guys. I think before we get to questions, let's watch some footage, actually. Yeah, I know.
Time stands still for all those who come here. I call that Tinkerbell.
Far, far away. Pirates?
What is this place?
Before Peter met Wendy.
We don't have to grow up. This is our world, pure and fair.
Before Hook became a captain.
Listen to me, Peter. There's something in this world that will make us more powerful than you can ever imagine.
They first had to discover.
Neverland. If I do find a way home, I'll be back for you in years. Join me, Hook, and together we can rule Neverland. Like gods.
Syfy presents an original 2-night miniseries event. Rhys Ifans, Charlie Rowe, and Friel, with Bob Hoskins and Keira Knightley as the voice of Tinkerbell.
Where am I? My kingdom?
This December, journey back to where it all began. Neverland, December 4th and 5th at 9, only on Syfy. Imagine greater.
So tell us, before we open up to questions from these guys, I had a couple of my own. What was that like to be part of what is such a classic story? Was it daunting for you guys, or how did it feel to be involved in something like that?
It wasn't daunting. I mean, what's daunting is, I guess, that everyone knows the story of Peter Pan. And what was appealing, I guess, to all three of us, that this goes a long way, if not all the way, to explain how Peter Pan becomes Peter Pan, how he acquires his magical powers, and how Captain Hook loses his hand.
I have a 6-year-old daughter and she just went, "Mommy, there's no way you can't not do Neverland." She was very excited. She wasn't too happy about the idea that I might potentially kill Peter Pan. She didn't think that was so good. But she was very excited about it.
Yeah, no, I was pretty apprehensive because of quite big boots to fill and that, but it was great fun. A completely different story to the original, so I think we did it justice.
And Charlie, I have to say, really mind-blowing performance for someone your age. How old are you?
I'm 15.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I mean, to take on a role that big, really impressive. I do say so myself. No, but I think, and what was it like to work with actors of that caliber?
Yeah, I'm incredibly lucky to work with such great people and amazing actors, and I learned a lot, particularly from these two. They're like my mother and father on set.
Oh.
Even though my mother and father were actually on set. But
Big sister.
Yeah, no, I learned a lot. Thank you.
Oh, you're an absolute pleasure. I think you've got a very bright star on the horizon, sitting right next to you.
And Anna, was that role, I mean, the role of Pirate Queen, as it were, I mean, Was it as fun as it looked?
Oh, it was great fun. I just loved the costumes. And also to play Paddy, and decided to make it Irish, to do something different with the accent. And Nick, our director and writer, was just a joy to work with. We did, I think it was about a 3.5, 4 month shoot, and never once did he complain of tiredness, and he kept the energy on the set all the time. It was great fun. Although we worked with a lot of green. Green became our least favourite colour at the end of it. I was like, oh, little green screen. But the effects are looking amazing. I've never seen it done to that degree.
Oh,
Yeah. It was nice to use the imagination. We had these big boards that Nick would show us every day and say, this green screen is going to look like this. But the whole imagination suspended in disbelief was a big challenge.
Yeah.
And Nick sort of said at the beginning of the shoot, he was like, we're going to end exactly 7 on our last day. And after 54 days of filming, we ended at 2 minutes to 7. And I was just like the icing on the cake. That was awesome.
I was so jealous of your flying. When was we going to fly?
Yeah, no, it hurts a lot. You shouldn't be jealous.
Rhys, you have a very interesting character actually, because your character really starts, has to kind of navigate from being a good guy to a bad guy, back again. What was that like?
Well, I mean, it's thrilling, and that's the beauty of a mini-series, is that in a film you wouldn't have the time that a mini-series offers to explore such complexities, and it is a real kind of roller coaster, moral roller coaster for Hook. So, thank you for giving us time to do that.
Oh, it was nothing. My pleasure. Shall we open up to questions? Okay.
Hi guys. We've seen kind of a resurgence of fairy tales in movies and television lately, and the 2 Snow White films that are coming out and multiple shows. Why do you feel that's happening now, and do you feel that there are certain projects that have happened lately that have kind of paved the way for this?
Well, given this kind of fragile economic climate, maybe there's a need in all of us to escape to somewhere like Neverland, where cash isn't an issue.
Yeah, they're some of the greatest stories ever written, and now with all the effects that we have available, we want to see them retold and using all those effects.
And I think these stories, they come in waves. It's a tidal thing. And there's something very kind of primal in all these stories that speaks to everyone. That's why we keep retelling them, revisiting them.
Rhys, mostly directed to you, but and Charlie can answer too. You played a somewhat wide variety of characters in various movies. For this particular role of Captain Hook, was there any particular inspiration you drew from for this role, or did you just kind of develop it, as a fresh character?
No, well, I mean, what intrigued me was, we all know the Hook that we're presented with in the novel, and that Hook is essentially bad to the bone. And I wanted to kind of explore a journey, how would a man become that bad? What would it take for a man to shed pretty much all his moral fibre? And what happens to the mind when it's offered eternal life? Does it corrupt or does it illuminate? And in Hook's case, it corrupts, but it also liberates him from a very kind of stifled and repressed Edwardian England. Bonnie liberates him completely sexually, which wouldn't have been the case in Edwardian England. Men were scared of women, women were scared of men. So it's a kind of double-edged sword, and it's an interesting question, what's the price of liberty, so that was all very kind of interesting. Right.
And it's an interesting surrogate father-son relationship that you have.
Yeah.
With Peter, that kind of pays the price for that.
Yeah, and that kind of changes. That's the kind of moral dynamic, I guess, in the whole thing is our relationship, and as Charlie becomes, as Peter becomes better, Hook becomes worse.
Right.
You know, yeah, I think it's very moving, that whole dynamic.
Really is. Questions?
Hey guys, thanks so much. I got a question about the action, because there's a lot of fighting scenes and action scenes. How much training did you actually have to do for the fencing or the sword fighting?
From Charles, wasn't it? For
Yeah.
our fencing scenes, you got a lot more, didn't you? Huh?
I'm just an actor.
Yeah, you are a mighty fine fencer.
No, we just, yeah, me and Anna had a lot of lunch breaks just trying to beat each other with swords. It's fun. I mean, we did like long sessions on wires and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting stuff. I mean, it's every boy's dream and every man's dream. Actually, it's still a bit of a boy.
Thank you.
Every boy's dream to fight. So we were having a laugh, really.
It's strange, you know, we did work quite intensely initially on the fighting, and you kind of just acquire a skill. So, and as the fights progressed in the film, because we become so adept early on, we spent kind of less and less time because we kind of took fighting direction better. But also, you know, CGI helps.
I think the whole shoot was pretty intense, but I think Nick, the director, just sort of made it a lot less and just a lot more, a very happy place for him. I think the pressure didn't really get to us because Nick was just there making us all feel good. He did a good job of that.
Hi, good morning. I was just curious, since there's so much of Peter Pan out there, it's kind of hard for boys growing up or being anywhere. How did you, like, what did you use for inspiration to try to make your characters unique, to try to make sure that we weren't going through the same thing again, that you brought something totally different?
I think we were already given that as a very unique script. It was a very different take on it because it was a prequel to Peter Pan. So you're already telling a different story. And for me, it's a new character, so I had a massive scope of choice of emotions and characteristics as to what to give her. There's no Wendy, so that makes it different for a start. I don't know what.
No, I tried to avoid watching all like, you know, Hook and all that before getting apart. I just tried to talk to Nick because I think Nick Willing is Peter Pan really. So I just tried to involve him into my part because I think he's still a child. If you meet him, he was a complete child, and it's his little baby, this film. So I just tried to involve him as much as I can into the parts I was doing, and yeah. So my part's basically just Nick, really.
Good morning. This question is for Rhys. I've always felt personally that Hook is kind of a one-dimensional character. You gave him a lot more depth, and I didn't think your approach was going from a good man to an evil man. It was more like a descent into madness. Would you say that was your approach?
Yes, absolutely. And I think the question of eternal life, and I have to think about it, it is madness. But with that madness comes a freedom, you know, but that freedom eventually corrupts, I think, you know, and it is a descent into madness. You're right, and I'm glad you noticed that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much for talking about this. I'm curious, everybody looks at Peter Pan as a family type of story. How would you say that Neverland will resonate with viewers?
Well, it is a family. The original is very much a family story, and you know, there are kind of dark adult themes, and I think that's the appeal of the novel and the prequel, that it engages all ages. You know, there's questions of, you know, father, son, you know, sort of kind of Jungian, Freudian, sexual questions. There's many kind of emotional threads and dynamics that appeal to all ages, and particularly with Neverland. When you read the novel, Hook and Peter are already embedded in Neverland. So I think what gives us an added connection to Neverland is that we see them as, albeit in another time, but we see them as human beings who live in a world where you eventually die. So we see what the wonder of somewhere in Neverland, somewhere like Neverland, does to the psyche. And in Peter's case, it makes him good, and in my case, it makes me very, very bad.
In my case, it makes me evil.
Yeah.
Well, Bonnie is an interesting character because she actually has a whole different, she comes from a different time, and has a different need and agenda. And into her life comes this kind of like new, it's like when you've lived with the same people for a long, long time, and all of a sudden here come these new people to play with.
Well, she's also the only woman around as well. For 120 years, she's not had any other female company. So he can hookerize its fresh new blood and someone who can bring her knowledge from another world.
Right.
And I think she's learned very manipulatively to learn her female, the power of her female prowess, and how to use and abuse that.
And it is interesting the way that she comes between the father-son. It is this very kind of classic story of the woman that comes into a boy's father's life and what that does to that dynamic.
Yeah. I love the dark undercurrent of the story. I think it makes it very available for both children and adults.
Yes.
I got both views from my daughter and from my mother and father, and they enjoyed it for totally different reasons. I think that's why it's so appealing, because it will appeal to such a wide and varied audience.
And it also has, that's interesting what you said, that it has that kind of stepmother theme as well, which is, which runs through so many fairy tales. And I think another exciting kind of dynamic in the narrative is that we as humans in Neverland are the aliens. Right? So Bonnie is essentially visited by a superior technological species, which again, is a theme that runs through certainly a lot of sci-fi.
That's true. There's a little alien in there too. Any other questions? Okay, these guys will be down here for, I'm sorry, did I miss one? Yes, I'm sorry.
Obviously, Neverland is a prequel to Peter Pan, and had that in the past with Star Wars, and Truman, they're doing it with Lord of the Rings. What do you think makes movies like that work and so appealing to the audience?
Because the story's so good to start with. You want to know what happened beforehand. That's the only way you can start from doing sequel after sequel after sequel. I think we're intrigued about what happened before the story even started. And it seems to have been a formula that's worked thus far, and particularly with a story like Neverland. It's never been done before. Why can Peter Pan fly? Why is there eternal life? Why do you never grow old?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an age of vampires story in a way.
And every kid in the world is growing up with these unbelievable stories, and everyone has their own different idea of why and how they got there, and that's why I think it's great that we've got all these different ones like Wicked and now Neverland, coming up, because it's basically someone's complete imagination. Everyone's got a different idea of why they're there.
Great. Oh, one more back, way back.
Good morning. I have a couple of quick questions. First off, the scenery looks beautiful. I know a lot of them were shot on chroma key, green screen, that type of thing. Can you go into the locations of the shoot? How long it took to shoot? How many people were involved in the whole process for the series?
We started off in Italy. And that was the most exciting part of the shoot for me. Was it you? Because we shot on a real boat.
I'd been there for ages as well. That did like a film about pirates in like the 1800s as well, 1900s.
Wasn't it Polanski?
Yeah.
Pirates, they used it for that. And it still sits in it. We didn't obviously take it out to sea. It was moored, but it was spectacular thing to look at. Yeah. Disguise the motor with a really big green screen. So I loved that. We were in Genoa, Italy, and then Ireland for the rest of it.
Yeah.
The two really remarkable locations, fantastic crews.
A lot of the exteriors were, you know, such as the Indian reservation of the Indian lands were shot in Parkland in Ireland. The London stuff, the exterior stuff, was shot in Dublin, which is a lot of Georgian architecture which would have suited. And then Neverland, ironically, was filmed in a disused toilet paper warehouse. Outside Dublin.
That's so romantic.
Yeah, but what you can do with computers nowadays, eh?
I would say that there is probably visual effects or enhancement in almost every single shot of this miniseries. It is really quite extraordinary. Okay, well, thank you very much. These guys will be down here for the next 10 minutes or so to talk to you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.